Stand with Koba for kids' sake. When a government agency breaks the law and children are hurt, the people and institutions must stand up to protect them. For kids' sake. Youth are often ripped from their homes with no notice or warning. The girls' group home is a great facility in a lovely neighborhood, yet girls were yanked from this home with no good reason and without notice or preparation for their departure. Unfortunately, the girls blamed themselves. They wondered what they had done wrong. But it was not their fault. It was the agency that made the decision to remove them with no input from residents or staff. The fate of our young men was the same. Many were pulled out the same day by DHR. They were puzzled and perplexed. Why now? And like this, when I have a chance to finally get my high school diploma? This was unfortunate because Koba's Accelerated Achievement Academy, AAA, offered the best hope for these high school dropouts to finally earn a high school diploma and a chance at life. AAA students had given up on formal education and simply dropped out. But they became believers, and many finally earned their high school diploma. The Koba AAA program was the only residentially based diploma program in Maryland, offering an in-house internet-based high school diploma program accepted at community colleges, vocational schools, and the military. Maryland Department of Human Resources, DHR, forced many youth out of their homes, causing enormous harm to emotionally sensitive children whose lives had already been filled with too many forced separations just like this. The entire calamity stemmed from Maryland DHR's anger over Koba's opposition to how they were hurting youth by yanking them out without notice. This caused the DHR to violate their own laws in their attempt to revoke all 5 of Koba's group home licenses. One youth, yanked from one of Koba's group homes, absconded from several new placements. He was later found living on the street, arrested by police. A female resident threatened suicide upon hearing about her intended forced removal, resulting in her admission to a psychiatric. Later, and in spite of her success, DHR still removed her without notice or preparation. A male resident just gave up on his studies, blaming himself for being removed. He only needed one more unit to get his high school diploma. A female resident also gave up her quest for a high school diploma, blaming herself for being yanked from the program. Her disappointment and dismay were palpable. DHR simply went too far. They broke the law in their effort to revoke Koba's licenses. But Koba fought back, winning several Maryland Circuit Court decisions. In fact, a Maryland Circuit Court issued a temporary restraining order, TRO, against DHR that found that Koba would likely win on the merits of its claim that defendant Maryland Department of Human Resources failed to follow governing administrative regulations in the notice, violation, and sanctions process employed by Maryland Department of Human Resources. The court also ruled in a subsequent hearing that DHR violated numerous other laws and regulations and essentially was a threat to the public interest. In a preliminary injunction against DHR and its staff, the Circuit Court ruled, "This court finds that public interest mandates that this court issue a preliminary injunction. More specifically, this court finds that defendant Maryland Department of Human Resources failure to follow governing regulations are public interest issues that warrant issuing a preliminary injunction." Thus says Judge Eric Johnson. The Maryland Department of Human Resources has been embarrassed by these recent court decisions and is using every legal trick in the book to defeat Koba's legal claim and to shut down Koba's entire operations. In an act that grossly exceeded its authority, DHR issued a letter to 24 agencies forbidding them from referring any new clients to Koba. This vindictive act was designed to ensure Koba's demise. It clearly violated the court's directive to cease and desist from any such harmful and destructive act. Yet, through the complicity of the Office of the Maryland Attorney General, DHR now hides behind sovereign immunity in its attempt to escape responsibility for its continuing abuse of authority, which Maryland courts have already declared illegal. That's why we need you to stand with Koba for youth's sake. We need your help to continue the legal fight and to rebuild our program to help youth create a viable future for themselves. You see, when one door closes, another door opens. For Koba, that door is a facility we must renovate and furnish to create an even better and stronger program. It will include residential and day programs for respite care, wraparound services, and crisis management in behavioral health, drug abuse, and other human support services. But we cannot do it without your help and your support. So, stand with Koba to rebuild its youth program and continue its legal fight against government abuse of authority and the harm inflicted on vulnerable youth. Justice does not come by accident. It must be won. Support our efforts today and visit us at the websites listed below. Simply click the links and you will be taken to the place where you will see our own expressions of gratitude and thanks in the numerous tokens and gifts that we offer for your contribution at different levels. We thank you for your time and we thank you for your support.